budget for the first quarter of 2021. Joining me in studio is my colleague Kwabena Ameyaw, who is with the business desk. He was in Parliament earlier today. He'll tell us more about it. Kwabena, thank you for joining us. And what more can you tell us happened in Parliament today?
Just as you stated earlier, the Finance Minister was in Parliament and to read the interim budget for the first quarter of 2021. Now, this particular budget is unconventional. When I say unconventional, usually in an election year, there's a likelihood of regime change. And so the Finance Minister comes to read some sort of an interim budget so that in the case of a change
of government,
the new transitional period, they will rely on that budget for the first 3 months of the following year. And so that is basically what he came to Parliament to present. And with this particular budget, there are not major fiscal policy changes. These are just some short-term measures to cushion the economy in the first 3 months of the preceding year.
Right, because when I listened to some of the comments from some members of Parliament, they didn't have enough expectation. They weren't expecting the minister to come and talk about, some fiscal policies and changes that he was bringing about. So I guess the reaction, as we saw in Parliament, was, normal. Haruna Idrisu was speaking earlier on the floor of Parliament, and he was also, you could tell that he didn't disagree much
with Haruna. There is key concerns about the rising public debt stock. Okay, so this is a government that came on the back of Ghana Beyond Aid, but it looks like the COVID-19 pandemic has really thrown the global economy into disarray. So virtually everybody is borrowing. And so the government has a bit more on their hands in terms of cushioning the economy. The COVID-19 heading into an election. And so the minority is cautioning the government against the excessive borrowing, which is increasing our debt stock. And so I think Haruna spoke in Parliament. We can watch that.
Let's take a look at what Haruna said after the speech by the Finance Minister.
From the Minister for Finance, conspicuously lost in his presentation is a report on the performance of the Ghanaian economy to give us the real state of the economy, including performance for the first quarter, second quarter, and third quarter. We needed to have an appreciation of how has...
In the studio, I still have Kwabena Ameyaw with the business desk, who is sharing with me his thoughts on the Finance Minister's delivery today in Parliament. And Kwabena, if you could quickly take us through, what government intends to do with the 27.5 billion. This 27.4 that we are saying, if you could run us through what's exactly they're using it for.
The first quarter of 2021, as requested by the Finance Minister, 27 billion. And we'll be looking at the breakdown, compensation of employees who take about 7.7 billion. The use of goods and services also.
Is that those who are owned by, who are these people?
I mean, it looks at wage bill, servicing, salaries and all that.
Right.
And also other payments within the public sector.
Okay.
So that is about 7.7 billion. Government will also be paying interest. So we are paying about 7 billion of interest from that interest on loans
we borrow.
Exactly. So we're taking that amount and then going to pay
an interest of 7
billion. Yes.
Wow.
So that is also something that we look at: social benefits, so capital expenditure, and also subsidies. All are taking certain key portions of the amount, also amortization, and then arrears clearance. Government owes certain arrears from contractors to teacher salaries and all that. So this amount is key for the first 3 months because government needs to spend. Regardless of COVID-19, regardless of coming out from election, you need to spend, we need to get the economy running.
I wanted to ask you quickly, I don't know if you are the finance person, you know about money. I don't know, are we ever going to be able to pay our debts? Ever. Will we be able to? But that's for another day. Now, coming up next is sports with Benedict Owusu.